today's tutorial we're going to be making your mandrake. So we're going to be applying all the skills you learned when you were playing with the clay, exploring the tools, and then create the design of your mandrake using all of those skills. So how you begin your mandrake is going to largely depend on the design of your mandrake. You can see here that I started with 2 balls of clay which I've merged together to create the head and body shape. Now, as they were larger pieces of clay, what I did first of all, you may have seen with the brush tool, was to scratch into both of their surfaces so that when I stuck them together there was more grip and they're less likely to fall apart. I then used my silicone tool to smooth out the clay and so that you couldn't see the seam of where the 2 pieces joined together. And then working on the face to create the basic details. Don't worry if things don't go according to plan. Obviously with clay you can start again. You can add bits and take away. What I think is important as a technique for when you're creating the face is actually, for the majority of it, you're taking away clay rather than adding clay. So you take away clay for the eye sockets and you can kind of build up to create a nose bridge, and then again taking away to create the mouth, so sort of opening it up so you've got lips, rather than sticking on what you think the eyes would look like or sticking on the nose. And then adding on the additional features with the little arms and now with the legs. Again, I used the brush to create the texture on the 2 surfaces so that they don't fall off too easily. And then the same again using this silicone tool to then smooth it all out so you can't see the joins. At this stage of the making, I wouldn't worry too much about getting perfection because you're going to be handling your model as you build it. So you're not going to get a perfect texture without ruining it whilst you're working on it. So I wouldn't worry too much, just get the basic form and shape first of all, and then you can go back once you're happy with that and add in the finer details like I'm starting to do here with the arms. Again, I'm just building it on, and the whole time you can't see it, it's slightly out of shot, but I'm working from my design. So just like when you were working on the observational drawing, make sure you keep looking back rather than trying to create from memory. So at this point I'm starting to use my hands more to smooth out the texture. You'll remember me saying that your hands are a really vital tool when using clay. And because of this, the clay is drying out a lot quicker. So I've got a glass of water that I'm using just to add more moisture to the clay. Obviously the drier it becomes, the harder it is to work with, especially if you've got small intricate pieces that can crumble and dry off. So this is the part where I'm adding the texture to make it more vegetable-like. I'm going back to the face now just to sort of readjust. Obviously I was handling it a lot, so the features have moved around a little bit, so I'm just adjusting it and making sure I'm happy with it, and then putting in the additional features. So the wrinkles, and I'm now building on the little stumps where the leaves come out in my design. Now obviously you could use to create the leaves out of clay, but working on a small scale model like this, that's going to be quite tricky. If you've made a bigger mandrake, then that might allow you to do it. I've found a bit of a cheat here. I found some herbs in my garden that had actually started sprouting purple flowers, which apparently, according to my research, are the colour of the flowers that mandrakes flower. So this was thyme that I was growing in my garden, so I'm using these to create the foliage, which I'm just embedding into the clay, as you can see. Once you're happy with your model, now comes the painting of it. I would recommend that you wait for the clay to dry completely before you start painting it. This will make sure that you're not going to leave your imprints on it or damage it whilst you're working with it. And the way I paint is I start with a base colour, so I was satisfied that this was the colour I wanted by mixing some yellow with brown, and then I added in darker tones of the brown anywhere that would be a shadow cast, so for example under the arms, and then into the crevices and wrinkles. And then I finish it by using a little bit of white just to add to highlighted areas as well. Acrylic paints really are good for little projects like this, so that's what I'd recommend you'd use to paint your model. And so here is the end result. This is my baby mandrake. I'm quite pleased with this, and I think it's quite true to the original design as well.
Don't forget to share photos of your mandrake on Instagram or on our Facebook group. I can't wait to see what you do.